There's nobody else that wanted to bring her home more than we did.
On the night of May 14, 2008, Brandon Swanson disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a cryptic phone call and a mystery that remains unsolved.
Looking for a bathroom in 2013. Animal Planet was filming for the series Northwoods Law when police made the devastating discovery 2 years later.
What started as a routine drive home quickly spiraled into a chilling enigma that has haunted his family.
The medical examiner believes she survived in the wild for about 26 days before dying from starvation.
And baffled investigators for over a decade.
First of all, I want to ask you, Ms. Swanson, you were on the phone with your son a large part of those early hours when you were trying to find him, and he was trying to find you. He wasn't hurt at all, right? I mean, the car went into a ditch, but he seemed to be okay.
From his car stuck in a ditch to a frantic phone call with his father, no one has been able to explain what really happened to Brandon that night. Could he have met with foul play? Or was it something much more sinister lurking in the darkness? The clock is ticking, and the search continues, but are we any closer to the truth? Don't miss out as we dive deep into one of the most puzzling disappearances in recent history. Timeline: on the night of May 14, 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson left his friend's house in Lynn, Minnesota, for what should have been a routine drive back to his home in Marshall. It was just after midnight when Brandon called his parents to let them know that he had gotten his car stuck in a ditch. The area was remote, and Brandon told his parents he was fine and would walk to a nearby farmhouse for help. Brandon's parents, Annette and Brian, immediately got into their truck and drove to the location he described, but when they arrived, they couldn't find him or his car. Brandon and his parents began flashing their headlights, but they still couldn't see each other. This led to frustration, and Brandon hung up on his mother. When she called him back to apologize, he told them that he was walking toward the town of Lind, about a mile away, and would wait at his friend's house. At 20:23 a.m., Brandon called his father again. They stayed on the phone, with Brandon describing his surroundings as he walked along a fence line and saw the lights of the town. But around 3:10 a.m., Brandon suddenly shouted, "Oh, shit!" and the call abruptly ended. His father tried to call back, but Brandon never answered again. This would be the last known contact with Brandon. By 6:30 a.m., after several hours of trying to find him, Brandon's parents contacted the authorities. However, initially, the police were hesitant to begin a search because Brandon was an adult. As time passed, they recognized the seriousness of the situation and launched an official search. The search intensified later that day, but Brandon's whereabouts remained a mystery. Search efforts as the hours passed with no sign of Brandon. His parents began to panic. They reached out to Brandon's friends and asked them to help search the area around his last known location. The search effort started early in the morning, but there were no immediate signs of Brandon. By 6:30 a.m., his mother, Annette Swanson, called the Lyon County Sheriff's Department for assistance. At first, the authorities were reluctant to begin a full search, as Brandon was legally an adult and it wasn't uncommon for young people to stay out all night. However, after further consideration, they recognized the seriousness of the situation and began their efforts to find Brandon. By noon on May 14, authorities had traced Brandon's cell phone to a nearby cell tower and located his car in a rural area about a mile and a half north of Highway 68. The car was found in a field, stuck on a slight incline. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, and no unusual evidence around the vehicle. The police tried to piece together what had happened based on this, but there was little to go on. The search expanded to cover a wider area, and search dogs were brought in to help locate any traces of Brandon. The dogs led authorities to the banks of the Yellow Medicine River, which was swollen and flowing fast at the time. It was assumed that Brandon might have fallen into the river, but after extensive searches, no body was recovered, and the river was eventually ruled out as the location of his disappearance. In the following weeks, both professional search teams and local volunteers continued the search, focusing on areas near Mud Creek, which had also been flagged by bloodhounds as a possible location. Despite continued efforts, Brandon's whereabouts remained unknown, and the case became a haunting mystery for investigators and his family. Theories: the mystery of Brandon Swanson's disappearance has led to numerous theories, but none have provided a clear answer. The most prominent theory is that Brandon became disoriented while walking in the dark and was unable to find his way home. His frustration and the late hour may have contributed to his confusion. His sudden shout, heard by his father during their last phone call, suggests that something unexpected happened. This moment of distress has led some to believe that Brandon might have encountered a sudden accident or perhaps a wildlife encounter, which caused him to lose his footing or get injured. Another theory that gained traction early on was the possibility of foul play. The remote area where Brandon's car was found seemed like an ideal location for someone to have taken advantage of his vulnerability. However, there was no solid evidence to support this theory, and no credible suspects have been identified. The lack of any signs of struggle or unusual evidence in and around the car made it unlikely that foul play was involved. A more somber theory revolves around the idea that Brandon may have fallen into the Yellow Medicine River while trying to find his way home. The terrain in the area was rough, and the river was fast flowing at the time. While this seemed plausible initially, after years of searching, the river has been ruled out, as his body would likely have been found downstream by now. Some even speculated that Brandon might have staged his own disappearance, though this theory is highly unlikely. His behavior during his phone calls, particularly the fact that he was trying to reach his father for help, doesn't align with someone trying to disappear on their own. Additionally, it's been nearly 13 years since Brandon vanished, and the idea that he orchestrated his own disappearance without leaving any trace seems far-fetched. Each theory, while plausible in its own way, remains unproven, leaving Brandon's fate an ongoing mystery. What happened after years of investigation and countless theories? The most likely scenario surrounding Brandon Swanson's disappearance involves a tragic combination of factors. It's believed that Brandon, after getting his car stuck, became disoriented while walking through the unfamiliar, dark rural area. His frustration and the late hour could have made it difficult for him to orient himself and figure out his surroundings. His last phone call, where he describes seeing lights in the distance, suggests that he was trying to make his way to a nearby town, but may have taken a wrong turn or gotten lost along the way. The sudden shout heard on the phone before the call abruptly ended has led many to believe that something unexpected occurred, possibly an accident. Given the rough terrain and the darkness, it's possible that Brandon slipped, fell, or encountered some form of natural hazard, which caused him to lose his footing. The possibility that he might have fallen into the Yellow Medicine River remains one of the most widely discussed theories. However, after years of searching the river with no results, the focus shifted to Mud Creek, which has shown potential due to bloodhounds picking up a scent in that area. Though the mystery remains unsolved, the prevailing theory is that Brandon's disappearance is a tragic accident. His disorientation, the rough terrain, and his state of mind could have led him into a dangerous situation from which he couldn't escape. Despite extensive efforts, no solid evidence has emerged to confirm any of the theories, leaving Brandon's fate a haunting reminder of how a routine drive home can turn into an unexplainable mystery. What do you think happened to Brandon Swanson? Was it a tragic accident, a case of foul play, or something even more mysterious? Let us know your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on the latest investigations and unsolved mysteries. We're diving deep into the cases that will keep you up at night. And if you thought this story was strange, wait until you hear about the strange disappearance of Maura Murray, accident or abduction. That's coming up next! You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.